Hey everybody, today is it's the day. It's December 31st, 2020, and I know I said I was not going to present any more evidence. I know I said I was done, but I'm going to do it one last time.
I am broadcasting on all AM frequencies. I will be at the South Street Seaport every day at midday when the sun is highest in the sky. If you are out there, if anyone is out there, I can provide food, I can provide shelter, I can provide security. If there's anybody out there, anybody, please, you are not alone.
Okay guys, before we get started, I picked up a little video here that I want you guys to watch. That way you can understand that the reason why I come to the conclusion that we are in a simulation is through evidence and how that evidence works.
For example, if Jim has a history of robbing liquor stores while wearing Richard Nixon masks, and Jim is now accused of robbing a store while wearing a Richard Nixon mask, where an issue in controversy is the identity of the person behind the mask, the prosecution may offer evidence of Jim's history of robbing liquor stores while wearing Nixon masks. The evidence is not being used to show Jim's character, but to show the identity of the robber. Since Jim's modus operandi involves using Nixon masks to rob liquor stores, that fact makes it more likely that he was behind the mask on this particular occasion. If a person goes for a run along the same route every morning at 5 a.m., for example, he's established a habit. Thus, a court may admit evidence about the defendant's habit of running at 5 a.m. to show that the defendant was likely near the scene of the crime if the crime occurred along the defendant's usual route around the time that the defendant takes his run. This information is both relevant and admissible as habit evidence.
So if that's just not enough for you, and looking at all these facts of seeing all these things, and we are in a simulation, yes, you definitely most likely are an NPC. And I'm not going to go down that road on that. The other is, if we wake up tomorrow and it is January 1st, 2021, we're going to be having a whole different conversation from that moment forward. So this channel is going to completely move away from the simulation, and we're going to be moving into something completely different because of the overwhelming facts that we're looking at that definitely proves that there is something wrong with a time glitch or a time hack. A glitch is in the system of a simulation. A hack is an alien civilization who has hacked our timelines. So that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow if we wake up tomorrow. If we don't wake up tomorrow in 2021, you guys already know what the outcome is going to be. It's going to be in between of the years 1972 and 2020 all over again until you get out of the simulation and until you are healed and you're back into the natural reality. And this is not all of the creations and cancellations. This is just a good grouped number of things that I brought together because I literally we're running out of time. And I don't have the time to research a bunch of the other stuff and get the actual pages up. If you look at the screen, you'll see that I put pages up showing you the evidence. So I'm not just speaking it and not just telling you, but you can actually see the evidence on the screen. So here we go. Creation, Alcor, created in 1972. That's about freezing and preserving human beings. Number 2 is Atari, when video games was first created. January 27th, 1972, that is a creation. Amendment of Higher Education Act went through on June 23rd, 1972. That's creation. Drafto Data, Bill Gates' first company, creation, 1972. This one is going to be a double hitter. The first time man got a full clear picture of Earth, and the last time man got a full clear picture of Earth was in 1972. It's called the Blue Marble. So that was actually a creation. It was on December 7th, 1972. It was a creation and a cancellation. Last time man walked on the moon was December 7th through 1972. Actually, it says December 7th through December 19th. So I might have been wrong about that December 14th thing that we talked about before, because now I'm seeing here it says December 19th was the last time man walked on the moon. So I don't know what that significance was from that December 14th, so I retract that one. But however, the last time man walked on the moon was in December 19th, 1972. That's a cancellation. With the Bekenstein-bound black holes hold and retain information, that creation was in 1972. And there also was the fact that Stephen Hawking was talking about black holes just keep expanding. That was a creation also in 1972. Atlas I created the EMP, the largest wooden structure to prevent against an EMP attack. That was in 1972. That was creation. That was the first time that's ever been done. The World Wrestling Federation first aired in 1972. That was a creation. Historical solar storms that has never happened ever recorded in history. That it was the fastest solar flares to ever attack the Earth. That was in the year 1972. That was a creation. The CIA stopped using the Corona spy satellite of May of 1972, ending the program in May of 1972. That's a cancellation. There's a ton of stuff on Richard Nixon. We already know about the Watergate. I'm not going to put that in there because, you know, that's the biggest scandal ever. If election fraud, that was a creation. What I'm posting up, which you can see on the screen, is Richard Nixon welcomes China to the New World Order in 1972. That's creation. And for those of you who are worried about America and the New World Order, you need to look it up. We are the New World Order. Sorry if you don't understand that, because 1972 shows you right there. Richard Nixon invited China to the New World Order. 1972. That's creation. First black woman to ever run for president was in 1972, Shirley Chisholm. That's creation. And I'm not going to post up the thing of the last time it was illegal to have an abortion in America, because you guys already know Roe v. Wade happened in the year 1973, making 1972 the last time it was illegal to have an abortion. But what you are looking at is Amy Coney Barrett was born in the year 1972. That's creation. With also the cancellation of last time it was illegal to have an abortion. 1972, Joe Biden becomes the youngest senator in history on November 7th, 1972. That's creation. December 18th, 1972, Joe Biden's wife and his daughter die in a car accident. That's cancellation. The ERA Act went through in March 22nd, 1972. That's creation, the women's movement. The Clean Water Act went through October 18th, 1972. That's creation. Protecting marine animals went through in October 21st, 1972. That's creation. The 1972 Dolphins were the only undefeated football team in history. That's creation. 1972, the Dow Jones went over 1,000 points for the first time in history. That's creation. The SALT Treaty went through for the first time in 1972, stopping mass producing of nuclear weapons. That's cancellation. Biological weapons ban went through April 10th, 1972. That's cancellation. The Advanced Research Protection Agency changed its name to DARPA, making it the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. That was in 1972. That's creation. Operation Popeye. The CIA was told to stop using weather warfare. Canceled the program in 1972, which was using aerosols to create the weather in Vietnam. That is cancellation. Pioneer 10 sent a probe out into deep space looking for alien contact. March 2nd of 1972, Pioneer 10 was launched. That's creation. Fauci started as a senior researcher at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases in 1972. That's creation. The Pegasus program was canceled in the year 1972. That's cancellation. If you do not know what the Pegasus program is and you don't have the time to look it up, it was literally about time travel. The CIA and DARPA were involved in this program. That was cancellation. It was canceled in the year 1972 about time travel and about being able to travel to Mars through some kind of portals. 1972 being the longest year in history, that's creation. And of course, I have up the First Blood because you are listening to the background music is from the movie First Blood, Rambo, which has, this is personal for myself, that I have more identified with Rambo my entire life. In fact, when I saw the movie, I've watched it I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of times. The movie has always kind of reflected who my personality. That movie actually came out in 1982, and I was surprised to find out that the book was actually written in the year 1972, making that a creation. And so anyhow, guys, with all of that being said and everything, and looking at all of the facts and the creations and cancellations, these things all sum up your reality. For the past 48 years, in 1972, those things all summed up your reality. Let me break this down for you kindergarten mindsets who do not understand what I mean. So let's back up real fast. Life extensions means about freezing and preserving human beings. The fact that Atari was created and video games were created, we already know that that would be virtual reality and simulation itself. The education system had an education amendment that went through, the Title IX, 1972. Bill Gates' first company was Trafto Data. Seeing the Earth for the first time and the last time, the full clear picture of Earth was in 1972. Last time man walked on the moon was in the year 1972. Black holes and the Bekenstein bound, whether black holes retain and hold information, was in 1972. They were worried about EMP attacks in 1972, so they created the largest wooden structure to stop an EMP attack in 1972. The World Wrestling Federation, the biggest watched fake sport in the world, it was created in 1972. You know, 1972 Dolphins was the America's most watched sport. You had solar storms that happened in the year 1972. The CIA and their Corona program ended in 1972. All the stuff with Richard Nixon and the New World Order in China, 1972. First black woman and all the politics, all the political, your entire political system, 1972. First black woman to run for president, the historical landslide in 1972. Even Amy Coney Barrett, we talked about that in 1972. She was born, it was the last year that was to have an abortion. Also with the, wrapping up all the political stuff, you look at Joe Biden in 1972. And there's something else that I left. There's a couple of things also that I left out, which was CERN, and I don't have time to get to pull up all the articles on that, but CERN had an explosion in a major event in 1972. Donald Trump's investigation in housing discrimination, it was in 1972. You have the U.S. dollar, which we know in 1972 was when it went into a fiat currency, a legal tender. So even your currency, your money itself, it's no longer backed by gold. The last time it was backed by gold was in the year 1971. The Women's Rights Movement went through in 1972, giving women more power. Clean Water Act went through in 1972, so yes, your water. And then, of course, the marine animals that were protected in 1972. And speaking of money, the Dow Jones, which we know how important the Dow Jones is to the banking system, went over 1,000 points for the first time ever in the year 1972. Stop mass producing nuclear weapons. That happened in the year 1972. The greatest threat on Earth is a nuclear weapon. Biological chemical weapons there was a ban on them in the year 1972. And if you do not understand, because you live in this bubble of how bad biological weapons were before the year 1972, I refer to you to go back and look at World War I and World War II and why everybody had to wear all those gas masks. That was a thing. When they would go into battle, they would have to wear freaking gas masks. DARPA was created in the year 1972, and I'm not even going to say any much more thing about that because that's all about mind control and everything, the internet. And so yeah, I'm not going to go down the whole thing with DARPA because if you don't get it, you just don't get it and you'll never understand it. Operation Popeye was about spraying big clouds in the sky to control the weather. So yes, in the year 1972, they supposedly canceled the manipulation of weather. So your weather was involved in 1972. Pioneer 10, sending a satellite out into deep space to go reach alien civilizations. That happened in the year 1972. Anthony Fauci going into infectious and diseases happened in the year 1972. Yes, that's right. And if you don't understand why infectious and diseases are such an important thing, and him being America's doctor in 1972, then, I mean, I just don't know what to tell you. Project Pegasus, that ending in 1972, it's all about time travel. Time travel and being able to open up stargates going back and forth to the moon, Mars, and Earth. That was canceled in the year 1972. So all these things just wrapped up your entire reality in the year 1972, as well as it being the longest year in history. I don't know how I can't make a more compelling argument. I don't know how you cannot look at this in a court of law and say that there is a smoking gun. Like, how can you not look at it and say guilty? Guilty as charged, with all of these evidence of all of these years, all this stuff that happened during the year 1972.
Are you being outsmarted by a rat? Don't feel too bad, because they are smart. So how do we know that rats are intelligent? One thing we know is that they're very cautious. They're cautious in the sense that if they see something that is not something they recognize or that they've seen before, they might test the waters. They might walk over it. Rats can learn and adapt about 10 times quicker than us as humans. If a rat observes another rat getting snapped in the trap, the rat that's observing it is going to avoid that area completely. So if you do feel like you're being outsmarted by that rat, don't feel bad. It's okay. They're pretty smart.
Rats, like humans, are one of the most resilient mammal species on the planet. These unlovable scamps don't get the respect they deserve. So let's reconsider the surprisingly human traits that rats exhibit.
Figured out when rats were frolicking or anticipating playing with other rats, they emitted unique 50 kilohertz chirps. And one thing led to another, and well, before you know it, researchers were tickling rodents with what they call somatosensory stimulation.
And because laughter is a stable temperamental trait, it can be selected for, which means, you guessed it, scientists created a strain of tickle-loving rats.
Think about thinking. We humans aren't the only navel gazers. A 2007 study by researchers at the University of Georgia used food as a motivator to get rats thinking about the things they didn't know and things they did.
The rats were trained to press one lever when they heard a short burst of static and another lever for a long burst of static. If they pushed the correct lever, well, they were rewarded with a handsome sum of food pellets.
If they pushed the wrong one, they got nothing. They also learned that they could get half the reward without making a choice, just by sticking their face into a food trough.
Simple enough, except that the crafty researchers started to mix up the lengths of noises, which made it more difficult for the rats to classify the mid-range lengths of noise.
And here's where thinking about thinking comes in. When the rats were uncertain about their knowledge, they'd cut their losses, essentially admitting they didn't know, and go for the smaller reward by not making a choice.
Rats feel empathy. While some may take issue with describing rats as empathetic, the fact is that when a cage mate is trapped in a restrainer, a rodent will heroically try to free it, which makes sense when you think of how social rats are and the need for cooperation to survive. Biological and behavior characteristics closely resemble those of humans. Well, they are ideal to study. In fact, 95% of all lab animals are mice and rats, according to the Foundation for Biomedical Research.
Here are just a few of the contributions they'd put on their resumes if they had one. Used for experiments in cases of hypertension, diabetes, cataracts, obesity, seizures, respiratory problems, deafness, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, cancer, cystic fibrosis, HIV and AIDS, heart disease, muscular dystrophy, and spinal cord injuries.
And that's pretty much it for the final video of 1972 on showing all the facts. To be honest, guys, I am wiped out. I'm tired. I don't even want to do any more videos. I may put up one more at the end of the night, but pretty much I think this is it. This took a lot out of me just to get it done, try to rush to get this done so I can actually go out and enjoy the rest of the day. And I hope the rest of you enjoy the rest of your day as well. And maybe I'll get another video up before the night time. With that, enjoy your time.